The bar went dead silent. Glasses stopped midair, chairs froze, and even the jukebox seemed to hush. The biker's laughter died as his eyes locked on something he never expected. What he saw in that moment froze the entire room, turning mockery into respect and humiliation into awe. Beat pause. Softer, mysterious tone. But here's the question. How did a quiet, small-town waitress, someone everyone overlooked, become the one person no biker dared to cross? Stay with me, because this isn't just a bar fight story. It's a story about hidden scars, unshakable courage, and the kind of respect no money can buy. Before we continue, please kindly tell us where you are watching from, and don't forget to subscribe. Enough stories, so that we keep your day engaged. It was a Friday night at Rusty Jack's Roadhouse, the kind of bar where the wood floors creaked with every step, and the neon signs buzzed a little too loud. The smell of fried wings and spilled beer lingered in the air, and the regulars filled their stools like clockwork. Behind the counter, weaving between tables with a tray balanced on one hand, was Emily. To most, she was just another waitress. Quiet, polite, always quick with a smile, but never one to linger long in conversation. She was in her early 30s, with kind hazel eyes and brown hair tied back in a loose braid. Her uniform was simple black jeans, a white shirt, apron tied at the waist. Nothing about her screamed danger or power. If anything, she seemed invisible. But those who looked closer noticed something different. She never slouched. She moved with precision, as if every step was measured. And when her eyes met yours, even for a second, you felt she saw more than you wanted her to. Still, to the rowdy Friday night crowd, Emily was just the woman who refilled their beers and cleaned up their mess. That night, a group of bikers rolled in, engines still echoing outside, leather jackets creaking as they claimed the corner booth like they owned it. Their leader was Rick Bulldog Turner, a man built like a freight train with tattoos crawling up his arms and a voice that could drown out the jukebox. The regulars knew what that meant. Trouble was brewing. The bikers drank hard, laughed loud, and tested every waitress who passed by. And Emily, she served them with the same calm smile she gave every customer. No extra friendliness, no visible fear, just steady. One of the regulars, old Joe at the bar, leaned towards the bartender and whispered, "Poor girl's gonna have a rough night. They eat waitresses alive." The bartender glanced at Emily, then back at Joe, and smirked. "Don't count her out so quick." Joe frowned. He didn't get it. To him, Emily was just another young woman working for tips. But the bartender had seen something, once a glimpse of a scar on Emily's forearm when she reached for a glass. The kind of scar you don't get from clumsiness, but from something darker. As the night wore on, the bikers got bolder. Catcalls turned into crude jokes, and crude jokes turned into shoves of empty beer bottles across Emily's tray. Each time, Emily responded the same. Calm, unshaken, professional. And that only made them push harder, because bullies feed on fear, and Emily wasn't giving them any. Then it happened. Bulldog, already 3 beers deep, decided a laugh at Emily's expense would cement his dominance in the bar. As she leaned forward to collect empty glasses, his massive hand shot out, grabbing the back of her shirt and ripping it straight down the middle. The crowd roared with laughter. Phones came out. Someone shouted, "World Star!" But the laughter didn't last long, because when the fabric tore away, what Bulldog revealed wasn't shame. It was something that made the entire bar sit up straight. And in that single heartbeat, Emily went from waitress to something entirely different. For a split second, everyone thought they had won. The bikers were laughing so hard the table shook, and the rest of the bar followed their lead. Emily stood frozen, her shirt torn open, shoulders bare. But then, the laughter cracked, because on Emily's shoulder blade, carved in ink and scars, was a symbol that didn't belong to some small-town waitress. It was bold, sharp, the United States Marine Corps emblem. And beneath it, in steady black letters, were 2 words Bulldog couldn't laugh at. Semper Fi. The biker's grin faltered. The room quieted. Phones that were once raised lowered slowly, as if every person there realized they might be recording something they didn't fully understand. Emily didn't turn immediately. She let the silence sink in. Her chest rose and fell calmly, like she'd been here before in rooms full of men louder, drunker, and far more dangerous than Bulldog's crew. When she finally turned, her eyes locked on Bulldog's, not with rage, not with fear, but with a calm so steady it felt heavier than a punch. She spoke just 3 words. "You done now?" The crowd didn't laugh. They didn't cheer. They waited. Bulldog's buddies shifted uncomfortably in their seats. They weren't used to being the ones second-guessing themselves. The bar regulars, once shaking their heads in pity for Emily, now stared at her with wide eyes like they were seeing her for the first time. Old Joe muttered under his breath, "Lord have mercy." And for once, he wasn't talking about the trouble. He was talking about the strength. What no one in that bar knew was that Emily hadn't always been carrying trays of beer and wiping down counters. Years before, she'd carried a rifle through sandstorms, slept under foreign skies, and watched friends fall in silence. Her body carried scars no one could see. Her mind carried battles no one would ever know. But Bulldog, he had just ripped open a piece of her past in front of everyone. And now, he had to live with what he found. Bulldog tried to recover. He barked out a laugh, louder than before, trying to reclaim control. "Look at this, boys. We got ourselves a soldier girl." But his voice cracked. His eyes betrayed him. Because deep down, Bulldog knew something the others didn't. He'd served some time himself short. Dishonorable. Kicked out before earning anything real. And he recognized that tattoo. That wasn't decoration. That was earned in blood. And standing before him was someone who had seen more than he ever could. Emily didn't flinch. She just stepped closer. Her boots clicked softly against the wooden floor, echoing in the quiet bar. The bikers shifted back instinctively. Bulldog tried to stand taller, but Emily's calm made him shrink. She set the tray down gently on the counter. No sudden moves. No raised voice. Just deliberate, unshakable control. "You think tearing clothes makes you strong?" she asked, her tone even. "Try carrying your brother out of gunfire. Try writing a letter to a mother after you couldn't save her son. That's strength." The bar stayed frozen. Some of the regulars had tears in their eyes. Bulldog slammed his fist on the table, rattling bottles. "You don't scare me." He barked, though the tremor in his voice betrayed him. Emily leaned in close so only he could hear. "I'm not here to scare you," she whispered. "I'm here to remind you. Respect is earned." Bulldog blinked. For the first time, he had no comeback. But not everyone was silent. One of the younger bikers, fueled by liquid courage, stood up. "She's just a waitress." "Don't let her play you, Bulldog." The crowd gasped. Emily turned her gaze to him, not with anger, but with that same calm, razor-sharp steadiness. She untied her apron slowly, laid it on the counter, and pulled the fabric of her ripped shirt aside, just enough to reveal more. Not just the Marine emblem, but beneath it, a series of inked numbers. Her unit designation. And a scar, a long, jagged line that told a story no one dared to question. The young biker sat down immediately. A woman near the jukebox whispered, "She's a Marine." A man by the bar stood up, clapping once. Then again, within seconds, the entire room filled with applause. Not rowdy, drunken cheers, but steady, respectful clapping that grew louder and louder. Bulldog looked around, suddenly realizing he wasn't the one with the power anymore. Emily didn't smile. She didn't bow. She simply picked up the tray, adjusted what was left of her shirt, and asked Bulldog's table, "Another round of beers? Or are you done for the night?" Bulldog's lips pressed tight, his fists clenched. For a moment, everyone thought he'd swing, lash out, try to take back the control he'd lost. But then, he lowered his eyes, and for the first time, Bulldog nodded silently. The bar exhaled all at once. In that single moment, the entire bar learned something they'd never forget. That strength doesn't always shout. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it carries trays instead of rifles. But when revealed, it silences even the loudest rooms. And Bulldog? He came in looking for someone to humiliate. Instead, he left having stared into the eyes of someone who'd already walked through hell and survived. But Emily's story wasn't over yet, because what she did next would change not just Bulldog, but every single person in that bar. The room could have ended right there with Bulldog backing down and Emily walking away. But Emily wasn't finished. She didn't want revenge. She wanted something bigger. Emily looked around at every face in the bar, drunks, bikers, regulars, strangers. "You cheer when someone gets torn down," she said quietly. But her words cut sharper than any shout. "You film it. You laugh. But you don't know what battles people are carrying. You don't know the price they've already paid." The crowd shifted uncomfortably. Some lowered their eyes. Others nodded slowly. She turned back to Bulldog, her hazel eyes unwavering. "You think ripping my shirt makes me small? Son, I've worn body armor heavier than you. I've stood in firefights where laughter didn't exist. You want to humiliate me? You already failed. Because respect," she tapped the tattoo on her back, "Oku, isn't something you take. It's something you earn." Bulldog swallowed hard. For once, the man called Bulldog looked less like a predator and more like a lost kid. His voice cracked. "I didn't know." Emily nodded once. "I know you didn't, but now you do." Instead of lashing out, instead of demanding an apology, Emily did something no one expected. She picked up a pitcher of beer, poured Bulldog's glass full, and slid it across the table. "Finish your drink. Then walk out of here like a man who's learned something." The entire bar gasped, not in shock at her strength this time, but in awe of her mercy. Bulldog stared at the glass. His hand trembled as he picked it up. For the first time in years, he didn't feel like the strongest man in the room. He felt small, but not crushed, changed. He raised the glass slightly, almost like a salute, not to mock, not to dominate, but in respect. Then he drank, and when he set the glass down, he stood. "Let's go, boys," he muttered. His voice didn't carry the same edge as before. It carried something heavier. Humility. One by one, the bikers followed, heads lowered, not daring to meet Emily's eyes. And just like that, the storm passed. For a long moment, no one moved. Then applause rose again, this time not chaotic, but warm. The kind that says thank you. The kind that says we understand. Old Joe wiped a tear from his eye. "She's more than a waitress," he whispered. The bartender leaned in and replied, "She always was." That night, the bar learned a lesson carved deeper than any scar. That every person you meet is carrying a story you can't see. Some wear their battles on their sleeves. Others carry them quietly, hidden until the moment they're forced to stand tall. And Emily? She didn't need fists or rage to win respect. She had something far greater honor. And honor speaks louder than cruelty ever could. So next time you're quick to judge someone, remember Emily. Because the quietest person in the room might just be the strongest soul you'll ever meet. Now let me ask you this. Do you think Bulldog truly changed that night? Or would he go back to his old ways once he left the bar? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. And if stories like this inspire you, about hidden strength, about respect, about unexpected twists in life, make sure you hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon, because more powerful stories are coming your way.